Welcome back to Channel Nation of Glory, where stories live, legends breathe, and the spirit of Hollywood shines a little brighter every single day. Today, we're diving deep into the life of someone who wasn't just a star, she was a galaxy of warmth, humor, and light. A woman whose laughter could soften even the toughest days, whose kindness shaped generations, and whose legacy will forever echo across the world of entertainment. Yes, today, we walk through the unforgettable journey of the one and only, Betty Marion Ludden, known to millions simply as Betty White. Now, sit back, relax, and let me take you through a story filled with joy, heart, struggle, triumph, and the timeless charm that made Betty White one of the most adored figures in American entertainment history. Betty White's story doesn't begin in the spotlight. It starts quietly, on January 17, 1922, in Oak Park, Illinois. A single child to hard-working parents, she grew up not in glamour but in the simplicity of family love, weekend picnics, and an imagination that knew no limit. When Betty was just a year old, her family moved to California in search of opportunity, something that would later open the door to her destiny. As a child, Betty didn't dream of being an actress just yet. Nature fascinated her. Animals were her first love, and she once imagined becoming a forest ranger. But for girls in that era, that dream wasn't allowed. And so, fate stepped in from another direction. She discovered the magic of performing early on, especially the thrill of making people laugh. There's something special about someone who understands laughter as a language of love. Betty was one of those rare souls. She adored making others smile, and those who knew her could sense she had something extraordinary, even back then. The Great Depression hit America hard, and Betty's family struggled like millions of others. Her dad used to build radios and sell them, but times were tough, so he'd sometimes trade them for chickens. Imagine that, bartering radios for chickens. But even in those hard moments, Betty grew up surrounded by warmth. She learned resilience, kindness, humor, the foundations of the woman she would become. When she graduated high school in 1939, she wrote in her yearbook that she wanted to become an actress. But Hollywood wasn't an open door for young women who didn't fit a certain mold. She wasn't tall enough, glamorous enough, or dramatic enough according to studio standards. But she had something stronger than approval. She had passion. And passion can open doors no one else can see. Her first steps into entertainment weren't grand, they were humble. She acted on local radio shows, worked for free just to get experience, read commercials, played small parts, and sometimes performed multiple roles because the stations were low budget. Betty didn't complain. She was building the foundation of a career she didn't yet realize would span more than 7 decades. Then came the moment that changed everything. Television, a new frontier, was beginning to take shape in America. No one knew quite what it could become, but to Betty, it was opportunity. A fresh canvas. A place where the rules weren't fully written yet. She began appearing on experimental TV broadcasts, live programs without scripts, without rehearsals, without guarantees. Just raw performing. And Betty, she thrived there. Her big break came on a show called Hollywood on Television, where she co-hosted nearly 5.5 hours of live, improvised television, every day, 6 days a week. Imagine that. No teleprompter, no editing, just pure, genuine Betty. This is where America fell in love with her. She was quick-witted, charming, warm, and fearless. People invited her into their homes not because she was perfect, but because she was real. Because she was human. And when the chance came for her to star in her own sitcom, she became one of the first women in television history to produce her own show, Life with Elizabeth. Yes, you heard that right. At a time when women were discouraged from having opinions, Betty White was producing, performing, and shaping television. That alone could have been her legacy. But she was just getting started. Her success soared in game shows, talk shows, and comedy skits. And it was on the set of Password that she met the love of her life, Allen Ludden. A game show host with a kind smile and a gentle heart. Their love story, one of Hollywood's sweetest. Allen proposed to her once. She said no. Twice. Still no. But love, at least true love, is patient. He asked again. And finally, she said yes. They married in 1963, and Betty often said the years she shared with Allen were the happiest of her life. Losing him to stomach cancer in 1981 broke her heart in ways she rarely spoke of. But she never remarried. She said, once you've had the best, who needs the rest? That's love, the kind you carry forever. Now, let's step into the golden chapter of her career, literally. The Golden Girls, a show that changed television. A show that made audiences laugh, cry, think, and cherish the beauty of friendship. Betty played Rose Nylund, a character so innocent, so sweet, so endearingly naive that she became iconic. Her comedic timing was flawless. Her storytelling scenes, especially the wild tales about Street Olaf, became TV legend. But here's the thing, that character worked because Betty brought humanity to it. She made Rose believable, relatable, lovable. The show ran for 7 seasons and became one of the most celebrated sitcoms in history. And Betty, she didn't slow down. She never slowed down. In her 70s, she was still performing. In her 80s, still shining. In her 90s, still working, still charming, still winning hearts. She became a cultural icon all over again, appearing on talk shows, in movies, in Super Bowl commercials, and becoming one of the most beloved viral stars of the internet era. Imagine that. A woman born before television, becoming the queen of memes. People adored her not just for her humor, but for her spirit. Her kindness. Her love for animals. Her authenticity. She once said she didn't fear death. She lived life fully, joyfully, gratefully. And every single person who watched her felt that. Now, as her remarkable journey neared its final chapter, the world prepared to celebrate her 100th birthday. Posters, events, tributes, everything was ready. But on December 31, 2021, just 17 days before reaching 100, Betty White passed away peacefully in her sleep. The world stopped. Not because we didn't know one day she'd leave us, but because she had become so timeless, so constant, that losing her felt impossible. Her death wasn't just the loss of an actress. It was the closing of a chapter in the soul of American entertainment. But here's the beautiful part. Legends don't disappear. They live on, in stories, in laughter, in memories, in the way they touched the world. And Betty touched millions. From her groundbreaking work as a woman in television, to her iconic characters that defined generations, to her unwavering love for animals, to her humor that carried us through decades of change, to her heart that made her a national treasure, Betty White will forever be remembered not just as a star, but as a friend. A friend who visited our homes every week, who made us smile even on tough days, who proved that kindness is power, who showed that age is no limit, a woman who lived fully, loved deeply, and made laughter her legacy. And that, my friends, is the true glory of Betty Marion Ludden. If you felt her warmth, her humor, her courage, then her story lives on in you. Cherish it, share it, keep it alive. Thank you so much for staying with us through this journey, through the life of a woman who gave the world so much joy. This is Nation of Glory, celebrating legends who make life brighter. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring Hollywood journeys. Hit that like button, share this video with someone who loved Betty White, and together, let's keep the light of her legacy shining. Thank you, and see you in the next story. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Your full combined tone script is now successfully added to the document in the exact style you requested: warm, friendly storyteller plus energetic YouTube biography.